doing? Kestrel. Is it a kestrel? I can't really tell, but it's going circling there. I'll do look for sparrows. Just flying, circling the tree over there. Yeah, it might be sparrowhawk. It's probably the one what's got pigeons from here. What we'll do, once it finds its prey, and just stop and it just woof, straight into the trees. What they do, they fly into the trees and they quickly climb all over all the tree branches and just grab anything they can. They've been on that front tree when the sparrows have been here, it's flew dead hard into the tree and then like jumped all over the tree. Or if it goes straight through the tree, you know, if there's a clearing, it'll just grab whatever it can. Anyway, we want to talk about childhood abuse. Childhood abuse can be off siblings, parents, can be off anything. But anybody who's ever suffered anything like that, you need to realise that there's never no time limit on it. So if you've had any sort of abuse, it can be sexual, or it can be actually even verbal abuse, like shouting. It could be abusive parents, abusive siblings, anything where, yeah, so it doesn't matter what sort of, however the sort of abuse, like mental or mental torture. I mean, you know, like people shouting in the house and all that, when you're a child or growing up, it sends you mental. I can't stand it, I can't. I think that's why I don't like anybody shouting or noise now, because what happened when I was a kid. But what I'm saying to you, any sort of abuse, whether it's physical, hands-on abuse, okay, any sort of abuse as a child, do not think that you have to suffer for the rest of your life. Like me, I've suffered all my life. I've suffered all my life. But what it is with people like in my family, you find with families, they'll always play, what they do, they'll say, you're ill, you're not ill. Whenever it suits them, they'll say you're ill, then you're not ill. Whenever it suits them. They'll not believe anything you say. You have to always go to an outside source. Normally your friends will know, or people will always know. But no, your family, you're not getting no, unless you've got a really decent family. So I'm not going to say every single one, but you'll find that a lot of the main problems stem from families. You look at in history, a lot of the things, even in the past, everything what's happened with people, it's always either close friends or families, more or less always families. And that's what you need. But don't think, you should never ever suffer in silence and think that you've got to have that for the rest of your life. Some people just keep stum all their life. They don't want to say it to anybody. Don't be like that, don't suffer, just don't because of your sisters or your brothers or your parents or cousins or whatever. You don't need to. Speak up. You can get them done now for historical abuse. You can have them banged out, you can have them banged for rights now, you can have them put in prison, you can get them put in court, you can get massive compo. You know, I'm not in, you know, anything, I'm not into, don't ever exaggerate stuff. Don't ever make things up. You'll never ever win that way. It has to be legit and it has to be realistic, because you're going to end up in court. You need to realise that. You're going to end up in court and you will get questioned everything. I can tell you that right now. So listen, anybody who's ever suffered, I feel sorry for anybody who's ever had to, look, anybody who's had to go through what I've had to go through. Alright? I'm not trying to make out that I'm the only one who's had to go through stuff. But I can tell you now, my whole life, from being a kid, I have suffered. And the reason being for that is, it starts from when you're a kid. It all starts from when you're a kid. And then what it is now, I am a product of my childhood. And that's it. Can't do nothing about it now. I can't change. I've done all the meds. I was on meds since 2000. I'll even remember when I was my first girlfriend and her parents, I think I was like 18, And her mum said to me one day, she says, have you ever been to see her? You ever spoke to your doctor? Come out of the blue, this did, come out of the blue. She says, have you ever been to see a doctor or anything? I said, well, what? I said, of course I've seen a doctor before. She says, no, have you ever spoke about your problems? I said, well, I didn't know I had no problems. She says, you need to go and see a psychiatrist. She says, have you spoke to your mum? Now, my parents, I may as well just be straight, didn't give a damn. I'm just going to come out of it straight, didn't give a damn. My dad was always one of them people, there's effing nothing wrong with him, there's effing nothing. I didn't know I ever had anything wrong with me. But people used to always say that I'm nuts, I'm this and that, I'm a psycho, I'm this and that. I've been called all sorts of names. Even if it's done with jest or jokes or whatever. And it's not nice. And people will get like that when you lose your temper or whatever. Look, nobody can take physical abuse from being a child up to say, I don't know, I could say it went carried on, even with me, it carried on up to at least, even up to around 16, 17. It might even been a bit older, I don't know, I think about 16, 17. But it didn't carry on up to that age where I couldn't defend myself. But I didn't give back what I could have gave back, I did it deliberately. But what I'm saying to you is, but when I was a kid, I couldn't really defend myself because there was too much of an age gap. There's a 5-year age gap. And that age gap is a lot. It's a lot. So like if say like I was 7 and the other person's 12, you know, that's a big age gap. And then as the years get on, it just gets worse, you know what I mean? So you know, that age gap, that 5-year age gap is normally around the age gap where a lot of childhood abuse, physical abuse takes place. Happens a lot, and it's destroyed a lot of people's lives, and you don't realise it. I'm not a bad person. I think I've done well for where I am. I've done well that I've never took my life. You know, I've always been honest. I've told everybody straight. There was a time when I really was suffering, and dark thoughts are just off the scale. I've never had dark thoughts like what I used to have. There was just, every night was absolutely horrendous. I used to absolutely dread. I mean, I was a grown bloke, you know, I'm talking about being 30-year-old. The dark thoughts were that bad. You just, I was thinking every single night, wouldn't get out of me, I want to hang myself. Yeah, absolutely horrendous. And I fought myself through it, I just wanted to have suicide all the time. People nobody takes it serious. Nobody ever takes it serious. You know, I think that's why when I drank a lot. I wasn't a drinker like an everyday drinker, but there was a period of when I was around 30 that I was drinking a lot. To the point police was coming to the house. It's not a good thing. My dad had died. I went through a lot of problems because I felt like I lost my backbone because we were both doing the same type of work. We were both doing the same work. Despite what my dad did when he was a kid, with my mum, when I was a kid, which was out of order, I understand that. Even though I got good hidings, he didn't himself know what was going off, what was happening with like my brother and me. He didn't have a clue what was going off. It was all hid from him. My mum used to say, don't tell him, and don't do this, don't do that. So I was sort of hid with it all the time. But you know, when you, like with me, like I had to go to school, you know, if any of my school friends are watching this video, you remember Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris picked me up in the class. I was covered in bruises, and he said to me, and he really got mad with me. Mr. Morris was my games teacher, little bloke he was. He actually reminded me of Mario. He used to have a real thick black moustache. No, he was a nice bloke, fit bloke, little flip bloke he was. He picked me up and lifted me onto this table, slammed me on this table while I was sitting down, and he says to me, why don't you want to come to school? What's wrong with you? What's up with you? But you see, all that, I had it all inside me. I didn't want to say it. Didn't want to say it, didn't want to drop anybody in it in the family. So I kept shut, kept my mouth shut. I'm covering people's arses here. I just didn't say no. So all the time I'm having problems at school, all my schooling where I never went, it was because of my childhood, my life at home. You know, it was absolutely terrible. You can't take physical abuse all your life, and every morning, every night, when nobody's in the house and you're on your own. That's why I used to go out with my best mate. I used to go out. I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to go home while he's at home. Beating me up all the time when I was a kid. People don't realise, you know, I'm talking about it now because I believe that there's so many people out there, and younger kids who are out there now who's got siblings who are having the similar thing done to them. And it's not normal. So none of you think, you ones who think, oh, well, brothers have fights. Yeah, of course brothers have fights, sisters have fights. Of course they do. We all know that. Not to the extent what I had. We all know that. My best mates, 2 brothers used to have little squabbles and whatever. They hate each other. We hated each other. We all hated each other in my family. We're gonna. Just false love. It's just false love, isn't it? It's just not real. You just know that it's never ever going to be there. And you'll always get these people, they'll say, oh, they'll deny it and say, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. Well, that's fine. Well, you can say what you want, I won't go make things up. Take it to court, do what you want. Because that's where it's going to go. That's where it always ends up in the end. It ends up in court. With a panel of people, that's where it ends up. I mean, I remember when I went to see my, my doctors have got all my paperwork. They knew exactly what was happening. They knew that my problems with my mental illness all stemmed from my childhood. They all knew that. I've got all the paperwork at the doctors. I've got all the paperwork when I used to go and see the woman in Ockley, private counsellor, who was like one of these, well, not private, yeah, private, but here's itching my head. The ones who do it like a bit of a charity, but I paid her £6. She said to me, did you ever get him back? Did you ever do that? And she got it all down. She says, your family's completely toxic. She says, and I'm going back when I was 30-year-old. She says, you need to turn your back on him and get the well out of him and don't have anything to do with your family. She told me that straight when I told her everything. Sat down and talked to her. I was seeing her, sometimes I've seen her twice a week, and then most of the time once a week. But if she was in twice, I did have an opportunity to go and see her twice. Because it was part of my programme to do with my mental illness, to try and get to the bottom of my thoughts and everything what was in my head, and all my built-in pent anger. So they thought it was a good idea that I could go and see this counsellor and I could speak to them about anything what happens even in the week. So as my general day-to-day activities, going out, how I perceive people and everything like that, and how I handle situations, it was all to do with that, because I used to have a lot of fights. And I used to find it very difficult. Even probably now, I'll probably be the same. I couldn't walk away from any type of aggro. I was always head on with problems. So instead of turning your back on anything, I would just be like a bit of a bull at a gate. Just not scared of anything. So I'd go straight head on with it. And it's not the right way to be. You've got to be a point in your life where you've got to say, no, I can't keep doing this now. I've got to walk away. I've got to be calm. I've got to walk away. I mean, you've got to laugh. I remember when I was doing anger management on probation, and I come out of my probation, and you'll find that all the people who was in there with me, it was an anger management probation I was on. I had to do my normal probation, but then I had anger management as well. So that was a separate part of it. I did see my probation officer, but I had to do anger management. And I come out to my anger management. I was just walking up the road, and these two lads was walking. I don't know, it was about two or three lads were walking towards me, and I was in a normal, like, I just done my probation. I felt great, got a load off my chest. And as I was walking, this lad went, sucked his teeth at me, right? And as he walked off, he mumbled. So I turned round to try and see if I could. It wasn't the right thing to do, but I did ignore it, by the way, nothing come of it. But I couldn't help but turn round, try to see if I could get a reaction from his eyes or his face, or some kind of reaction. He was going to do some kind of reaction, but he didn't. Never, ever, ever turned around. He never turned around. I actually stopped, and it really annoyed me that much, and I bottled it in, and do you know what? Absolutely killed me. God, it killed me. I remember walking back to the car park to get my car. I was so mad. I was so mad inside, because it was so deliberate. It was so deliberate at me. I just, for me to just wipe that off, it really was a struggle for me. I mean, that did my head in, did my head in for hours, that did. That's what I'm trying to say to you. I'm not one of these people where somebody does something to me, it just disappears. It doesn't work like that with me. I haven't got that head. Like I said to you, I've got that full on. It needs to be sorted. And that's a massive problem. Yeah, I've come out of probation, a great day of probation. In fact, every time I went to probation anger management, I actually look forward to going to it, believe it or not. It's about 10 of us, 10, 15 of us. There were a few of us. Some days there weren't many. Some of us didn't turn up. There was always one lad who used to turn up. Oh, he was a bleeder, he was about in his 20s. He was absolutely hilarious. I tell you what, he couldn't cope with anything or anybody. He was this lad. He was into drugs. He was into anything he could get his hands on. He was into everything. Proper street lad he was, and he was hyperactive. White lad he was. He was hyperactive. He was absolutely off his rocker. But I tell you what, did he make me laugh? He made me I says to the probation. I says when him. I says he's absolutely. If he could get his life sorted out, it's a brilliant bloke. Brilliant lad. If he could just get his head straight, he really would. He's right character for a young lad. But yeah, he's off the rockers. Nobody could even look at him. He used to start fighting with people. It used to be hilarious. If I said something about something, he'd say, "Did you smack the shit out of him? Did you do this? Did you do that?" I said, "I would have gone bomb. I would have gone off my head. I'm not going to. I can't say to you what he says and all this, but it was because you could say whatever you wanted to say. You didn't have to be loose with your words. You could say anything. Yeah, it was brilliant. I used to love probation. That anger management course at the probation centre. I really enjoyed it. Opened my eyes up because I realised that I wasn't the only one with my problem. Every single one of them in there had a very similar problem. But all the ones who were in there, except probably one or two blokes, all street lads, drug dealers, all sorts. You see, this is what I'm trying to say to you. A lot of these criminals, I mean, they've been in and out of prison. A lot of these have as well. A lot of these criminals, they've come from bad childhoods. This is the problem. They've probably had the same similar problems, and they get tarnished in society that they're like bad eggs, and nobody wants to. But nobody really knows what the cause and what the reasons. They just say, oh, they're doing that. They're mixing with the wrong crowd. No, it's not always like that. I'm not trying to defend these people. A lot of it stems from home because you've got parents. Some of our obviously have got one parent families. Some of them don't even live with their parents. Live with grandmas, don't they? And this is where it all starts. It all starts with just some of them have lost their parents at young ages. There's all sorts. But I say you are a product of your childhood, really. I mean, I'm not going to give every parent and say every parent's good. You can get some of these kids who come from well-to-do families. and they'll do the opposite because their life is too clean for them, too good. They want something different. So you get them who go off the rails. There's loads at the end of them going to drugs and going off the rails because life's too good. Life's too good. So they steal cars or do this or do that. Yeah. But my problem is a stem from my childhood. I mean, she's even said it to me. She says, she's 100% under mum, 100% I've got mental illness. She said 100%. Said it to me. Even today, just said it. 100%. She said that I'm either up or I'm down. She said it. I probably don't even know I'm doing it sometimes. I probably don't even know I'm doing it. But like, yeah, they notice it. And my friends know it. I'm not going to deny it. You know what, my friends, your friends are normally your best signs of. And if you've got like bestie mates, and you grew up, especially the ones you grew up with, like my mates, I met them when I moved from Nottingham, from Lenton in Dunkirk, Nottingham, and I was 7. And we became best friends, and then we stayed best friends all our life. But they know me inside out. They only have to look at me to know what mood I'm in. If we're out and we're drinking, they can look at me and know. They can automatically, without me saying a word, without me saying one word, they know if I've got a problem. And they even know, they'll even say to me, who's irritating you in a pub or whatever. That's how well my mates know me. And that's what I'm saying to you, they know me better than my family will ever know me. So, it's a fact. Some of your bestest friends who know you from young, they know you inside out. Inside out. Oh, my head's itchy here. Do you know what? Itchy me here. I don't know, my ears tickling me. See how the sun's gone now because it starts over there at the back over there. It's moved all the way around now, so it's at the front of the house now, at the front. So there's not really any sun there, just that little bit over there. It's all at the front of the house, so you get it all at the back, all in the garden. It's all in the garden all day. It moves all the way around the house. Boiling it is at the minute, about 38, 39. I don't know what it is, something like that. Nearly 40 degrees anyway. 30 degrees in the house. Mental. Really needs air conditioning, to be honest with you. So yeah, anybody who's suffered from a childhood, I want anybody. I mean, it's like over the road. There's a little girl at the house. She's got young parents. He's only in his 20s, and she's. I've never heard. I mean, yeah, I know the Hungarian, right, or whatever. But language and the shouting is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely, it's repulsive, and the shouting is it's absolutely terrible. Makes me jump when he shouts. And he's only a young lad. And if you looked at him, you wouldn't even think it. He's a bit of a tallish, not dead tall, but taller than me. But he's, I don't say, that's not hard to do. I'm not that small. Definitely not that small. Anyway, he's taller than me. He's obviously a slim young lad, and she is. It's just so thick. But the language and the shouting, there's a little girl in that arse. It makes me. If it carries on, no, it needs reporting. I don't know what that little kid on its own. It's absolutely. The problem is, right? You can't really phone. You phone anybody else. You have to phone the social services or whatever they use here. But they make a big. And I'm not saying they make them out. They just don't do anything very discreet. They involve you in it with everything here. But you can't. We've left it. What it is, there's a gypsy family up the road there. She's collared them. They're alright, they are. She's collared the mum and says, have you spoke to your, I don't know if it's her husband or boyfriend, she says, have you spoke to your, let's say husband, have you spoke to your husband about he's shouting? She says, it's disgusting. And she's told him straight that he's got to stop or she's taking it further. She says she's going to report him. and that was about 3 months ago. I think she had them. And she says what she does now, the shouting's that bad at the house, they put their Hungarian gypsy music on the veranda, for the sick of hearing shouting. And that little kid must be absolutely petrified. This is what I'm saying to you, shouting, really, really shouting, you can't do it. It's absolutely horrible. I've heard the kids screaming and crying their eyes out, and it just really does bother me. It is wrong. And that's what I'm saying to you, that is first-rate abuse. Something's got to be done about it. They're not there at the minute. They've been gone for like 2 days. They've got chickens. They've got the chickens in the garden, and they've got about 2 or 3 cats, and they're all in the garden. I'm getting a bit pissed off to be honest with you, because they try to kill the birds. Obviously they're hungry. They won't like it if I set the dog. I mean, I'm not into anything like that. I wouldn't do that. But I'm just saying, they won't like it if my dogs are in the garden. But you know, with the fact that the cats are in the garden, they're just waiting. They just sit there waiting to eat the birds. I mean, it really does annoy me when I'm feeding the birds. Catching and kill my fish. Kill some fish. I mean, I don't mind the storks doing that. The storks got to live. I don't mind things like that. But a lot of cats, they kill for the fun, don't they? I mean, they leave all the debris in the garden, they don't really eat it. They just play with the stuff, don't they? Kill it to play with it. And I'm not against cats either, because I like cats as well, but I don't like it. I don't like cats what aren't my own cats coming into the garden, turning it into a killing zone with little animals. I don't like that. Need a shave out of it, don't I? Gotta have a shave. See this little red mark on my face? I don't know it's picking it up. Not being vain or anything, but I keep getting this little red mark here. That's all. But what it is, I don't know whether it's my ear follicle, I'm not sure. But when I grab hold of it, it's always like a bit of dry skin comes off it. It's so sore. And it keeps coming back, and I have no idea what it is. It's really irritating. I've had it for ages. Anyway, you've all had a good first day of the week at work, Monday. Everybody around the world. I hope you've got nice weather. Really lovely weather here at the minute. My little doves up there, got 3 of them, and there's one nesting in the tree at the front. They come down here while the dogs are there. The dogs are asleep or just sitting. The dog just looks at them. They just go and drink water out of the bowl, like the big tank thing I put there. Anyway, I want to go. I'm thirsty. I think we've got a little bit of cola there on the veranda. Cold cola. And enjoy the rest of your day. And don't forget, you do not need to suffer in silence. Get yourself sorted out. Tell somebody. You don't need to suffer. Don't end up like me, because when you end up like me, what it is, everybody will always point the finger at me and say, oh look at him, he loses his temper, oh, he's aggressive, oh, he's depressive, oh, you get all these people, right? You don't. Family are the worst for it. Narcissist family members. So, don't put up with it. Get your shit sorted out. Help everywhere. Bring these bang to rights. You can do it at any time in your life. 40, 50 years down the line. You can do it. Don't you worry about it. See you all later.